Who can we prosecute for those deaths? Nobody. Nobody. Mother Nature, God, older people, vulnerable people are going to die from this virus. That is going to happen.
Outraged New Yorkers calling for action as the governor refused to take responsibility for thousands of nursing home deaths.
So who should be held accountable then? Joining us now to weigh in, New York City GOP Councilman Joe Borelli. Joe, thanks for coming on. What do you think of the governor's response to this?
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me. Look, I'm willing to give a lot of leeway to elected officials forced to make tough decisions in unknown circumstances. But the truth of the matter is, on March 25th, the Cuomo administration made a decision in the form of a written policy that prevented nursing homes from rejecting patients who were testing positive for COVID from coming back into the nursing home. You know, you don't have to be an expert to realize that on its face, you have a very vulnerable population, and you're bringing positive cases to that close-knit, close confined circumstance population. You don't have to be an expert epidemiologist to realize that this is going to be problems. So what we're seeing now in New York State is bipartisan calls for an investigation of why the state's health department and the Cuomo administration made this decision. If it was made by some unknown or some good faith effort, so be it, but it just seems so backwards. And I can tell you, knowing a couple of families who lost people, that their descendants and relatives really want answers.
Yeah, there are a lot of people, not even just New York, Joe, I mean, across the country who are fed up right now and want some answers. But sticking to this, New York topic, and as you mentioned in this original statement, here's a portion of it, and this reads, quote, "No resident shall be denied readmission or admission to the nursing home solely based on a confirmed or suspected diagnosis of COVID-19. Joe, what do you think it's ultimately going to take to be able to get answers to the people who are demanding them right now, and that's the families who've had loved ones who have died as a result of this?
Well, I mean, the good news is that there's real pressure. It's not just politicians out there making, statements. We have the Attorney General who's now said she will open an investigation. The state legislature's health committee has said they're going to have oversight hearings. I think we're going to get the answers to these questions. I think they might be ugly. I think they might not be pretty. I think they might affect the reputation that Andrew Cuomo has garnered throughout this the course of this COVID crisis.
And how about them changing the way that they report the deaths? Now they say that if you die in a hospital but you're from a nursing home, they don't count that anymore. How crooked does that look? I mean, to me, that just looks terrible.
Well, right. So we have these questions about nursing homes to begin with, and then you go ahead and try to, change the data,
it's a cover-up.
Change the way we classify things. It doesn't make you look any less complicit in causing this problem amongst nursing homes around the state.
And to just for everyone who's watching at home, if you take a look at this numbering, it's really shocking and hard to digest. 5,398 COVID-19 deaths reported in New York nursing homes. That's as of May 12th from the New York Department of Health. Joe, let's talk about this for a second. You've seen pictures, you've seen video all across from not just New York City, to be fair, but from different shore points across the country. A lot of people getting outside. I mean, they're getting tired of staying in their homes right now. They want to get outside. They want to get fresh air. They want to give businesses the support. So a lot of the businesses that might be on the verge right now of not being able to reopen ever again, so that hopefully if they start getting this business, they can reopen. What do these pictures tell you?
Look, I mean, effectively in New York and elsewhere, the lockdown is shut down. The lockdown is over. People through their own actions are getting out. They're getting about. My wife and I, we were hiking this weekend. We ended up going out with friends, having a good time. And this is the mentality you're starting to see pervade in cities from New York and elsewhere. The unfortunate thing is that businesses are still not able to put money in their cash register. Right. And we have people like Bill de Blasio and Andrew Cuomo who don't sense the same urgency that we saw them, try to get ventilators and other things. We need that. Businesses need actual guidelines, safety guidelines they can follow to reopen. They need timelines of when that's going to happen. And instead, from these two guys, we're getting, business opening czars, fairness commissions, equity panels, blue ribbon panels and commissions. I mean, people don't need more bureaucracy. They need a real path to reopening very quickly so that these businesses that are on life support could actually stop bankrupting the families that own them. It really is getting sad, and we're seeing the impacts on real families.
Right. You're seeing the numbers here. I just want to pull them up. New Jersey at more than 1 million unemployment claims. I mean, this has decimated so much of this country. 2 million, more than 2 million in New York. Are you feeling the flip the way I'm feeling it, too? It just seems like in the last couple of weeks, people have said, all right, it's enough of this. People, I think, were glad to do this for a certain period of time. Now I think the tone has changed.
Look, Rob, I mean, there's a lot of conservatives who thought we shouldn't lock down at all.
Right.
I'm not one of those people. I saw a lot of deaths on Staten Island, where I live. A lot of families I know lost people. It was real. It happened. And I support shutting down temporarily. But in the same matter of urgency we shut down, we need to reopen. People have given up. Businesses are going bankrupt. And we have arbitrary numbers. You know, the Cuomo administration says 30% of New York City's hospital beds have to be open before we reopen businesses. We're at 28%. Is that meager, minuscule 2% of hospital beds that we don't need right now? Is that meager number worth bankrupting more businesses, more families, putting more people on unemployment, putting more people in the poorhouse? I don't think it is. That's why we need to start opening today. We need to start. We have to change our mindset from what businesses should we reopen to what businesses might be high risk and we shouldn't open at all. I mean, that's the reality. Most businesses should open, and if there are a few that are high risk, maybe you can't go to the sauna and in your gym or something like that.
Right.
But most businesses should be able to open.
And to that point, Joe, a lot of business owners might make the decision, as we saw in Georgia when they were allowed to reopen, that some chose not to at that time. So we'll continue to follow this. Joe, good to see you as always. Thanks for joining us.